Hello, everyone. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It would really help the channel out quite a bit. Thank you very much.
The Private Lives of Ethel and Albert, starring Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce. The large problems in our lives only face us every now and then. But the small, trivial problems come up every day in the routine of every family. It's these small problems, so familiar to all of us, that make up the private lives of Ethel and Albert. Before we join Ethel and Albert, listen to this most important announcement. Unless we Americans act, 17 million people now living in this country are doomed to die of cancer. 17 million. That's one American out of every 8. Or to bring this startling figure closer to home, one person out of every 2 families is doomed to die of cancer unless we act. You're probably wondering what you, as one individual, can do about it. First, consult your doctor before it's too late, and tell your relatives and friends to do the same. Second, do what you can to provide more and better service to cancer victims. Third, help the scientific research attack on cancer, an attack which will lead to more effective treatment and possibly to the eventual conquest of this dread disease. You can help in these last 2 ways by supporting the 1947 drive of the American Cancer Society. The $12 million needed by the Society will be used to finance more research, more equipment, more service to cancer victims, more of everything that is required to check cancer's constantly increasing death rate. At present, 3 out of every 10 people stricken by cancer can be saved if the disease is caught in its early stages and treated promptly. But sufficient equipment costs money. Remember, no one is safe from cancer. Cancer strikes young and old, rich and poor alike. Give generously. Now, Ethel and Albert. It's evening in the Arbuckle household, and we find Ethel and Albert in the living room.
Yeah, I guess one thing that's really wrong anyhow, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You listening to me?
No.
You're a fine one. You're always complaining I don't talk to you evenings when you don't listen when I do.
You don't listen to me when you're reading the paper. I'm sorry, dear. What were you saying?
I was saying I don't think we get enough exercise. I think I'll lay out a good system for this coming summer. Golf at least once a week and tennis at least once.
Well, that'll be good for you.
Keep me in trim so I grow old gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, where's my tennis racket? Is it up in the attic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was pretty good at tennis when I was in school. All through school, for that matter. You know what? I even won the senior high school championship. Did I ever tell you? Got a silver cup for it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was pewter. But that's up in the attic, too. Hey, I think I'll go up in the attic and look for that racket.
Well, why bring it down now, dear?
I don't know. I just kind of thought it would.
All right. Well, don't make a lot of noise now. You'll wake Susie.
All right. I'll be right back down. Ethel! Ethel! How we doing? Ethel, honey! Hey, honey, you should see what I found. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
I wish you wouldn't make so much noise.
Honey?
First thing you know, you'll wake Susie.
Darling?
What'd you find?
Oh, boy, well, let's show you. I didn't even know these were up in the attic. I thought Mother had them at home all this time.
What is it, some of your stuff?
Yeah, I had these when I was a kid.
Your mother brought a lot of your things over with them the last time they drove over, and we just put them in the attic.
Son of a gun.
What is it?
Well, I'll show you now. Come here. I want to show you, honey.
All right. Don't get so excited.
Well, golly, I feel excited. I know the whole thing's kind of silly and childish, but, boy, this certainly meant a lot to me when I was a kid. Gee, I used to make collections of things, you know.
Yeah. I used to collect match covers and license numbers from out of state.
Yeah, well, honey, this is my collection of samples of water from all over the world.
Oh, yes, of course. Your mother told me about it. Uh-huh.
Oh, did
Yeah,
she show you all the different ones and explain about them?
Oh, no, dear. She just told me what it was. What the
Oh,
were.
all right. Well, I want to show you.
Uh-huh.
Golly, I haven't thought about this collection for ages.
Mm.
Here, now, look. See? This is water from the Atlantic Ocean.
Well.
Uh-huh. Here, wait a minute. I'll set them out here a little bit.
Now, here, I'll help you.
No, honey. I don't want to do it.
All right, dear.
Well, I mean, I just know how things are better, you know.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Here, look. Look at that, honey. That's Lake Michigan.
Well,
Mm-hmm. And here's a sample from the Mississippi River.
yeah. Certainly got a lot of samples here.
Yeah, I started this collection when I was about 7, I guess. And every time anybody I knew went anywhere, I'd always make them promise to bring me back a sample of some river or lake or ocean or something where they were going.
Well, the water looks alike in all the bottles, though.
It doesn't look exactly alike. Anyhow, that isn't the idea.
No, I guess not, dear.
I got samples of all the Great Lakes, Michigan, Superior, Erie, Ontario, and Huron. Look, here. That's Lake Ontario.
Well.
Here, wait a minute. What's this? Well, by God.
What is it? What is
I remember the Yangtze River in China.
Oh, Brenda, how did you get that?
How did I? I know that was through the minister at the church at home. He had a friend who was a missionary in China, and he was coming home, I suppose, on a sabbatical year or something, and Reverend Davis asked him to bring me a sample of the Yangtze River. He wrote to him.
Bet you were tickled about it.
Oh, boy, was it. I couldn't eat for about 3 days until that fella got there, just thinking about it.
Really?
Oh, golly, it doesn't take much when you're young to get you thrilled about something.
I know it. I remember I used to collect cigar rings. In fact, whenever I see one now, I feel as though I ought to save it.
Yeah, Here, by golly, honey, is the Pacific Ocean.
Well.
Yeah, look at that, would you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what's this?
Oh.
Oh, that's Maston Branch.
Oh, well. Where's that?
Well, it was just a little brook that used to run near the edge of town where we used to go swimming. A lot of these don't mean so much, I guess. Yeah, Lake Winniwacky. Boy, that brings back memories. It's where Tommy Richards went to a boys' camp. He brought this back for me.
Well.
Oh, here, look, honey.
What?
Gulf of Mexico.
Oh,
Gulf of Mexico.
I see it.
This is when the Bensons went down to New Orleans.
Well.
Here's the Ohio River.
Uh-huh.
Gee, I don't remember who I got that from. Here's one labeled Minnehaha Falls. I got that myself in Minneapolis.
Oh, well.
Isn't that a small collection, huh?
Yes, dear, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I got the Missouri River here someplace, too, and the Rio Grande.
Uh-huh.
Oh, golly.
Well, it's wonderful, dear.
Oh, look. Well,
What?
for heaven's sakes, my old map.
Huh?
The map I used to keep with this stuff.
Oh.
I had all the rivers and the lakes all mapped out, see? The ones I definitely wanted samples from,
How'd you happen to find all this in the attic, honey? I thought you went up to find your tennis racket.
Look here now, honey. See how I got things mapped out? Gee, I can remember working on this now. See the check marks I made?
Huh?
Look here, see?
Here, let's sit on the davenport, dear. I don't want to sprawl all over the floor.
Well, look at this, hon.
Well, don't stretch out on the floor. You got your new suit. Oh, well.
Yeah, I got the places checked in green,
Yeah.
see, that I still wanted, see? And,
Yeah.
and the red checks mean the places that I had samples from already, see? And every time I'd get a new sample, I'd make a red check. You see, like...
Yeah, did you find your tennis racket
And
upstairs?
Huh? No. I found this because I was looking through my old stuff, and I found, to find that cup that I won in high school for tennis, I found all this.
Oh, I see, uh-huh.
Oh, boy, but I haven't shown you my pride and joy.
No?
I have got a sample
Huh?
of one of the largest inland lakes in the world.
Oh.
I'll look for it in a minute, but look at this map, honey.
Uh-huh.
I used to dream of traveling all over the world. I always thought I'd finish school, and then I'd set out and travel around. I thought I'd just spend the rest of my life traveling.
Well, we'll get our trip in someday, honey.
Yeah,
Oh, I know it isn't the same thing, but we'll have fun.
sure. I know. I guess that's what this collection used to mean to me. I get a sample from some great river or the Caspian Sea or something.
Uh-huh.
And, I used to imagine that I'd been there and, sort of daydream about it. I'd think of traveling by canoe over dangerous rapids or trekking across the desert on an Arabian pony or camel or hacking my way through the jungle, Used to pretend I was Stanley.
Stanley who?
Livingston.
Who was Stanley Livingston?
Oh, no. I mean the Stanley who found Livingston in the jungles
Oh,
Dr. Livingston,
yes.
I presume.
Yeah, I presume, yes. I don't see how you'd have made an explorer, dear. You can't even stand one mosquito in the house here. What would you do with them in the jungle, huh?
Oh, well, you put up with things.
No.
I used to make up a native language and
Did you?
pretend I was bartering with the natives.
Yeah.
I used to stalk through the walks near our house and pretend it was a jungle. Then
Mhm.
I'd pretend that I met some fierce-looking native, and I'd say, "Baba, hungo, ho, mikahila," and he spared my life.
Oh, yes, son.
Now, let me see. Let me show you. I know
All
that
right.
thing's here. It's the best one yet. My Uncle Robert brought it back from Africa, from Lake Tanganyika,
Mhm.
Wasn't
Yeah.
really my Uncle Robert. He's a friend of my dad's, but we always call him Uncle Robert. And he brought this back.
Yeah.
How the heck is it? I know
Oh,
it's him.
yes, I think your mother told me about that,
Yeah, there's a very funny story connected with this one.
Yes, I remember now. Your mother told me.
She did?
Uh-huh.
Here it is. Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
it was
here it
here.
is.
Lake Tanganyika, see?
This is the one that's really filled with faucet water. Yeah, there. No, what's this one, honey?
Faucet water.
Yes, out of the tap, the faucet in the kitchen sink at your house.
Faucet water?
Is that what you meant?
Isn't what I meant.
A funny story connected with this one from Lake Chen or something that your Uncle Robert brought from Africa.
Well, no, that isn't what I meant at all. What funny story do you mean?
What funny story do you mean?
What are you talking about, Ethel?
Well, I thought you knew. I thought that's what you meant, dear.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Ethel, what did you mean, faucet water?
Just ordinary water out of a faucet. I thought that's what you meant, that you knew.
Knew what? Ethel.
I probably made a mistake, dear. It's one of these others now. I know.
You mean Uncle Robert didn't bring this back from Africa? You mean he just filled up this little bottle with ordinary water and said it was from Africa?
He did bring you one, but it got broke. And your mother and Dad thought you'd be so disappointed that they decided, not to disappoint you.
Oh.
Well, now, I do think they did the right thing, Albert. Honey. And I thought since you grew up you knew about it. What funny story did you mean?
Uncle Robert made up, I guess, a funny story about how one of the natives got superstitious about getting a sample of the lake and said because they took it that it would rain for 3 weeks steadily. And Uncle Robert said it did rain for 3 weeks as they were trekking through the jungle. Now I wonder if he even ever went to Africa.
Oh, yes, he did. Your mother said he did, dear.
You don't know how much these meant to me.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear.
Well, I'm not blaming you. You didn't know. Sure, they should have told me later on, anyhow. Oh, it doesn't matter whether they told me or not. It's just...
Now, look out. You'll break them,
Oh,
dear.
that's okay. I'm going to uncork them and throw them out anyhow.
Albert, now listen, honey.
Well, how do I know the rest of these bottles are filled with water from wherever it says they're from? How do I know some of the other people didn't do the same thing? Huh? How do I know?
Does it matter now, honey?
No, I guess they serve their purposes as well. I guess when you're young, you believe anything, and when you grow up, you get your illusions shattered.
Well, not always. Now, I wouldn't take it so much to heart. After all, look at the fun you had for years collecting them, honey.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. Now, look, now you're grown up. You've actually seen the Great Lakes, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Mississippi River, and all that. You didn't rush to get samples of them when you saw them, did you?
No, I guess not.
Well, your sense of values has changed, that's all.
Yeah, I guess so, sure. After all, this hasn't any real value, even as a collector's item. It's really useless.
It's useless now. It served its purpose when you were little.
Yeah. Probably the trouble with a lot of it. We save a lot of useless stuff, and we ought to throw it out. Well, I'll take these out, dump them.
Well, you don't have to do that, Albert.
Yes, I do. I want to. I really don't want them anymore. Tell you one thing, though. For the first time in my life, I really feel that I'm getting old.
Albert.
I do.
Well, if you are, it's becoming. You're getting wiser and smarter and better looking. I'll tell you what, I'll buy a tennis racket and play tennis with you this summer so you keep in trim and grow old gracefully, huh?
All right, honey. I suppose I've reached what psychologists call emotional maturity.
Oh, honey.
But by golly, there was something about the good old days, even if it was just faucet water.
Oh, well, what's a few gallons of water among friends? As Henry Morgan will tell you, being one of radio's funny men is a serious business. Concocting a weekly show such as the Henry Morgan Show Wednesday nights over most ABC stations involves a lot of plain hard work. Unlike many network funny men, Henry Morgan relies mostly on himself for the gags that convulse his listeners. Billboard advertisements, signs in store windows, and obscure newspaper stories also provide him with useful material for his program. At one time, all Morgan needed for a broadcast were a few notes jotted down before airtime. That's when he was broadcasting solo. Now that he has a group of actors with him and an orchestra with him, he uses a script. And when we say Morgan's funny, that's just the half of it. Well, you'll agree there's nothing as entertaining in the way of comedy as the things that go on when Morgan goes on the air. Listen tonight for Henry Morgan over most of these same ABC stations. The Private Lives of Ethel and Albert come to you each weekday at this same time. The show is written by Peg Lynch, who plays the part of Ethel. Albert is played by Alan Bunce. The program is produced by Bob Cotton. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.